Good morning to all the UG students of University and Bangalore North University. This is the eighth session for all the third semester students of Bangalore University and Bangalore North University. And this particular session is meant for BCom students who are studying the Aranyakanda of Champu Ramayana. So this is an introductory session for Aranyakanda. In this session, we will be trying to understand the gist of the particular Kanda that we are studying. Before that, we can make a small recollection of whatever we had learnt in the previous classes. Especially in the last class, we had learnt about the comparison between Valmiki Ramayana and Champu Ramayana. What are the differences between the two? What are the similarities between the two? And also to understand what are the give and takes between the two. Okay. And also before that, we had gone through the Pancha Champu Kavyas and also the origin, development and different types of Champu literature that are there in the classical Sanskrit literature. Okay. So the objective of this particular session is to understand what is the purpose of poetry. Okay. The purpose of poetry, like every poetry is meant to give pleasure to the readers on one side, and on the other side the Sanskrit literature, since it consisted of human values. Okay, so it is said to take the people in the right path. So dharma, artha, kama and moksha are the most important objectives of life. So reading any piece of literature in Sanskrit will enhance the human values of the readers. So the students will learn about the principles of life, the values of life, and also to know the story which is narrated in this particular text. So you all know that Ramayana mainly consists of the story of Rama and his family. As the name itself says, Ramayana. So Ramayana is about the story of Rama, his family, his family members, and the story that happened during his lifetime, the incidents that happened during his lifetime. So if you all know a little bit of Ramayana, you know that it starts with the story of Dasharatha. Dasharatha is the king of Ayodhya, and he has three wives, Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. For a long time he didn't have children, and he did Putra Kameshti Yaga, and then he had four sons, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. Rama is the son of Kausalya, Bharata is the son of Kaikeyi, and Lakshmana, Shatrughna are the children of Sumitra. And then as they grew up, they learnt all the arts and skills and knowledge from the great preceptors. They also learnt the art of warfare. And as they were growing, at one point of time when they were still young, teenagers maybe, at that point of time, once Vishwamitra comes and he requests Dasharatha to send Rama along with him in order to destroy the demons in the forest, because he was performing a yaga, a sacrifice, for which there was a constant trouble from the demons of that region. Therefore, he wanted Rama to come and guard that region as long as Vishwamitra performs the penance, because Vishwamitra himself is a Kshatriya, turned into a sage. He can fight, but when he is a sage, he cannot fight. And also when he has taken the vow of sacrifice, he cannot be doing anything. Therefore, he requests Rama to come with him. But Dasharatha, being very affectionate and passionate about his son, especially Rama, he does not agree to send Rama. After which Vishwamitra tries to convince him, and the guru of uh, Dashratha also advises the Vasishta also advises Dashratha to send Rama, and he knows that Rama is courageous enough to destroy the demons. And then Dashratha sends Rama and Lakshmana together along with Vishwamitra, and they all do whatever is expected. They kill the demons, including Maricha and Subahu. And then after the completion of the sacrifice, Vishwamitra, while coming back, he takes them to Mithila, in which place there was a Swayamvara organized for the daughter of Janaka, that is Sita. So they go there and they win the contest, and then Rama marries Sita. Later, Dashratha and his family also joins the marriage ceremony. They come back to the city, and when they are in the city, after some time, Dashratha decides to give his kingdom to Rama because Rama was the eldest son. But at this point of time, there are certain unforeseen situations that happen, incidents that happen, in which suddenly Kaikeyi starts claiming the kingdom for her son. Because at some point of time, Dashratha had promised Kaikeyi 2 boons, whereas Kaikeyi had not asked for the boons at that time, and she said she will ask for it when the time comes. Now, when the news of Rama's coronation spreads in the city, there is one Dasi of Kaikeyi who gets really disturbed because her, her queen, Kaikeyi's son, is not getting the kingdom. She goes and tells Kaikeyi. She turns the mind of Kaikeyi. Otherwise, Kaikeyi was a different person. She was like anybody else. But now at this point of time, being influenced by Manthara, she also thinks that the kingdom should be given to Bharata. Therefore, she gets angry and she enters into the Kopagriha. When Dashratha comes to inform about the coronation ceremony to Kaikeyi, she shows anger and she says that the kingdom should be given to Bharata. And she initially she says that she wants to ask for 2 boons at this point of time. And when Dashratha asks what are the boons, then Kaikeyi says with 1 boon she wants Bharata to be coronated, her son Bharata to be coronated, and through the 2nd boon she wants Rama to be exiled to the forest for 14 years. So Dashratha gets really shocked about this. He tries to convince her, he tries to pacify her, he requests her not to do that, but Kaikeyi is very strongly contending to ask for these boons. So when Rama comes to know about this, even though Dashratha did not ask Rama to go, Rama comes and he agrees to the condition put by Kaikeyi, and he says he is ready to go to the forest. So when Rama is ready to go to the forest, Lakshmana is a very close brother of Rama, and therefore he says he will accompany Rama wherever he goes. And also Sita says that she wants to go with Rama. So in this way, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, all of them start going into the, get ready to go to the forest. So this is the story of the previous Kandas of Ramayana. That is, it is divided into 7 Kandas. The first one is called Balakanda and second one is called Ayodhya Kanda. So whatever story I narrated just now was from Balakanda and Ayodhya Kanda. So now what BCom students are studying is Aranya Kanda. So the story ends, the story of Ayodhya Kanda ends with this seeking of the boon by Kaikeyi and Rama accepting to go to the forest. So the Aranyakanda starts with the exit of Rama from Ayodhya and his journey towards the forest. He enters into the forest along with Lakshmana and Sita. So what you are going to study in this particular Kanda is Rama's exile, Rama's moving into the forest. Rama's Vanavasa, exactly to say. Rama's Vanavasa. Okay. First of all, he accepts the words of his father and he moves into the forest, and then he starts living in the forest. And Dandakaranya Sancharanam. Also, there is a description of how Rama moved in the forest, what all he came across, what are the difficulties he came across, where he went and settled down, all these things, whom all he met in the forest. All these things you come across in the text prescribed for you. Rishyashrama Darshanam. He also goes and meets many sages who are living in the forest already. Tapovananam Varnanam. And also you come across a lot of description of the forest. And while he is moving in the forest, there is a very particular important incident that happens. They come across a demon called Virada. Viradaha Narabhakshakaha Rakshasaha. There was a man-eater demon called Virada. So they come in contact with that person when they are going, and then there is a fight between Rama and Virada is killed by Rama. After this, Rama goes to the ashrama of Agastya, and then there is a description of Agastya ashrama and also the different things that are there around Agastya ashrama. Many stories that come in between relating to this Agastya ashrama. And then there is Jatayu Melanam. They meet Jatayu. Jatayu is the bird which is going to help later when Ravana carries away Sita. So as soon as they get into the forest, once they go into the ashrama, then they see this bird called Jatayu. Rama makes friendship with this bird, and this bird starts living very close to the ashrama built by Lakshmana. Hemanta Rutu Varnanam. There is also a beautiful description of the Hemanta Rutu in this Kanda. And then there is Shurpanaka Vrattanta. Shurpanaka is Ravana's sister, who is living in this place called Janasthana, where Maricha Subahu also lived. So there is Shurpanaka. There are stories related to her, how Shurpanaka tried to come and allure Rama and Lakshmana, and how both of them resist, and then at last Lakshmana cuts off the ears and nose of Shurpanaka, and she goes. And then there are also brothers of Shurpanaka called Kharadushana. There is a fight between Rama, Lakshmana and these two demons, Kharadushana. That description also you find. And then there is Maricha Prakarana. There is Maricha there. Shurpanakaya Ravana Prachodanam. Shurpanaka, who is hurt by Rama and Lakshmana, she goes to Ravana and complains about them. And there is the response of Ravana to what happened in this place to Shurpanaka. And then Ravana comes and tries to persuade Maricha to, distract the attention of Rama and Lakshmana so that he can carry away Sita. But Maricha, in this context, he is forced to do whatever Ravana says, and he takes the form of a deer, golden deer, and he tries to go in front of the ashrama, and Rama chases him and then kills him. So then Ramam Drashtum Sitaya Lakshmana Preshanam. And later on, by listening to the voice of Rama, Sita thinks that Rama himself is hurt, and she sends Lakshmana, and there is Sita Paharana Prasanga in this. Okay. And also after this, they come back, and then they see that Sita is no more there in the ashrama, and there is Rama Vilapa. He starts, crying out loudly, and then he feels very bad. They start searching for Sita, and they find Jatayu being killed by Ravana, and it was fallen down. It was breathing the last, before which it said that Ravana took away Sita. So in this way, the story of Aranyakanda has all these incidents, and it's very interesting, and beautiful descriptions are there. And Champu style itself is so attractive because the poet uses shloka wherever he needs, and whenever there is description, he uses the prose, and therefore a very beautiful combination of prose and poetry you can see in the Champu Kavya. And the story is also very attractive and more poetic than Valmiki Ramayana. So I hope you enjoy this particular Kanda, that the text that you're studying, and I request you all to attend the classes regularly and be alert and learn whatever is possible. The best poetry in Champu literature, that is Champu Ramayana of Bhojaraj. So wish you all the best. I request you to answer the MCQ questions and then send them across. So if there are any doubts, we can chat through WhatsApp and other Google groups. So let us meet in the next class with the lessons. Thank you very much for giving a good hearing. See you again.